Odell Beckham, as usual, his sideline demeanor was spotlighted and noticeable, and he addressed it. Now, Gary, do we have the sound of that by any chance? Or do I need to? Okay, let's roll that. I want y'all to hear what Odell said yesterday. Roll it.
Talk about, how badly you want to win, and you could see it on the sidelines there in the fourth quarter, how much this means to you, how passionate you are. I know sometimes it gets misconstrued, but when you're over there and they're showing you on TV, what's going on in your mind and soul in that moment?
I'm pissed, and at this point, I really don't care to keep trying to make myself look like a good guy into the world and all that, because I am who I am. I got pulled out of the game. The coach said this was the best decision. It's 8 minutes left, and for me, I'd rather take my ass whooping like a man. I'd rather take my win the same way. I want to be out there to the last whistle competing. And as you know, Dallas game in the first quarter, I got tackled, stubbed my toe into the ground, kind of had this lingering turf toe issue. So if I'm not going to play, I'm not going to stand there with cleats on the sideline and my toe be jammed in there. But at the same time, I never want to come out of a game, win, lose. I don't care if we're up 50, down 50. I don't ever want to come out of the game. And that's always going to be my mentality. I'm kind of over, trying to play the right thing because, I love them to death, but there's people who have plenty of rings and consider the GOAT, and they do things on the sideline, and other people do things on the sideline and they get away with it, and it's classified as passion because they may have something behind their legacy or whatever it is. And to me, bro, we love this shit that much. It means that much. There's no way around it. I don't care if I have 0 rings, 12 rings, 20 rings. I love this game of football, and I'm not gonna keep dulling myself to for the world to feel like I'm mature or whatever word you would like to throw around it. I'm always gonna be me, and tired of losing to good teams, and just ultimately want to win. And one day, when it's all said and done, we'll all clearly see that. But in the meantime, while we're in it, I'm sure we won't.
That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop for me. Like, I've always, even when he was, assaulting the kicking net in New York, a lot of people made a big deal out of that. I have always defended his passion because, honestly, I relate to it. And, I love how he not only called out the double standard, the Tom Brady's, and he had to say his name, but the Tom Brady's of the world can go off on the sideline and it's celebrated because Tom Brady's teams have been successful and he's the quarterback and this, that, and the other. But also, I love that he's at a point in his life where he's over trying to make people feel good about it or trying to fit in or conform to what people think about how he displays his passion. I absolutely love it. He's like, I'm over it. Like, y'all definition of maturity or whatever that means. Whatever y'all think I need to be, I'm not trying to be that. This is me. This is who I am. I'm passionate. I'm sick of losing. This organization should be sick of losing to good teams. So, I got pissed off and I slammed my helmet. Now, and what? Let's do better. Let's be better. Quit focusing on my reaction and focus on the root of my reaction. Let's be better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's New Orleans, by the way. 504.
New Orleans. What's up? What's up? New Orleans. There it is.
Stand up.
Louisiana.
Stand up.
Where is he from? He's from New Orleans?
Yes.
Is he from the East?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. Look, Mike, he said a lot of good stuff there. He said a lot of really good stuff. I'm feeling his passion. I love what he had to say about being up 50, down 50. I don't want to come out of the game. I'll take the victory. I want to take the loss too. Coach thought it was the best decision. I'm pissed about it. Love it. I love that. I love it. I can feel the passion he has for the game of football. But this is what he doesn't get. It's not a double standard. It's not the double standard that he's talking about. He's like, well, why can this guy do it and I can't? You already said it, Odell. How many times have they been to the playoffs? How many times have his teams been to the playoffs? Once?
I believe that's correct.
If he had stayed in the #1 media market in the country and they had won, if Odell Beckham Jr. had been on the 2011 Giants, the team that won the Super Bowl, if he had been on that team and he acted the same way, the New York myth makers would say, that's my guy. Look at him. He's a winner. He's got passion. He plays the right way. He never wants to come out of the game. The fact is, he said it, I'm tired of losing. And when you're a loser, you're not looked at the same way. I'm not saying he's a loser, but when you're in a losing organization, in a losing culture, people view you and your team differently. He's right. Yeah, Tom Brady does flip out on the sideline, but Tom Brady has 6 rings. Is that fair? I don't know. But that's what happens when you win.
No, the answer is no. But the answer is no. That answer is no. Is that fair? The answer is no.
Odell Beckham
because
Jr.,
you shouldn't only be able to display passion with the permission of championships. You said these teams don't go to the playoffs. Is that his fault?
Let's not overstate.
Is that his fault?
Let's not overstate that he's just displaying passion. Is that what he's doing? That's a euphemism.
What do you call it? Petulance? You want another P word? Petulance?
No, I'm saying most guys out there are displaying passion because it's pro football. You got to be out there. They're displaying passion. He's a little extra with his, right? Like he has
emotional, emo.
He displays more passion than the next guy most of the time,
and that's his prerogative. And that's his prerogative.
When you're right, but when you're winning, that is viewed differently. And
because that says more about us. That says more about us. That says more about the critics than it does about the legitimacy of his reaction.
It's not media people.
It says more about the people writing the narratives. It says more about the people writing the narratives that because somebody's team, like we're assigning some kind of correlation between Tom Brady yelling and screaming on the sideline at his teammates with the fact that the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls. By this rationale, if your teams win, therefore, that style of leadership flies. If your teams, at a different position, mind you, at a much more dependent position, well, not more dependent, but at a different position, mind you, if your teams don't win, then therefore, be quiet. So you're saying if the Giants have been better, if Eli, that's extreme. That's extreme. You're right. That's extreme. You're not saying that. But if Eli Manning hadn't been a shell of whatever he was back in 2011, and the Giants would have been better, and they'd have gone to the playoffs more, that would have been received better. That's bogus to me. And again, my problem is people get threatened, especially from young, brash black men. They get threatened by their passion, by their intensity, but when somebody else does it, oh, they're just committed. They're just fiery. And Odell Beckham, to me, is not.
I don't think it has. I don't think it has anything to do with Odell Beckham Jr. being. There are lots of brash, confident, emotional black men in the National Football League. I don't think that's it. I think
it happens, Michael. It happens in the workplace. I don't believe it's an incident.
That's different.
I'm not trying to inject race where it doesn't belong. I'm saying subconsciously it is received differently. That's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. Thank you for catching me on that. It's always whether it's at the top or the bottom, it's somewhere. It's at least beneath the surface, or maybe it's overt. It's somewhere involved. So you're feeling me then. You're feeling me. Subconsciously, it is received differently when black men show passion than it is when white men show passion. And I'm not saying that this is a matter of black and white when it comes to Tom Brady and Odell Beckham specifically. That's what I was talking about. But specifically, I know Brady has this cachet because he's the GOAT. But because Beckham is not the GOAT, he can't be pissed. He can't be upset on the sideline. It is a double standard.
Okay.
But again, more important, I'm glad he's not going to be a victim of this double standard anymore. He's going to say, look, I'm going to be me, take it or leave it.
Yeah, but Odell, that's why. And you said he's over it. No, he's not over it. If you're over it, you don't keep bringing it up.
He was asked about it.
You're over it.
No, he didn't bring it up. He was asked about it.
You asked him. Okay, right. Okay, there's some stuff if you want to be real, there's some stuff that I'm over. That if you ask me about it, I'm not. I appreciate your question. You know the blow off answer. I appreciate the question. I understand why you asked the question, but I'm not going to answer it if I'm really over it. No, he's not over it. It's something that's on his mind. And I know he put out a video a couple of years ago. We all know what he's talking about. You saw the video. He put it out and he spliced it, and he had Tom Brady going crazy on the sideline. And then he had him. And he's like, well, why is it perceived different? It is because of winning. Winning is what this thing is all about. This is a result business. And you would get it, Odell Beckham Jr. You'd get the benefit of the doubt if your team's won. Now, it's not your fault that your team
maybe he'd be Michael Irvin. Maybe he would be Michael Irvin.
Yes, he would.
Maybe he'd be Michael Irvin.
And Michael Irvin, brash, passionate, black, winner, 3-time champion. Okay, nobody said.
But we know how much circumstances matter. We know how much circumstances matter. And all I'm saying is for him to be vilified and called a diva, a lot of these receivers especially, they get called divas. They get called divas. And it just feels unfair. It's always felt unfair. I feel like I've been on the right side of this issue, and I think Odell Beckham is a prime example. Yeah, like goes too far. Like I don't see when you put it side by side.
But maybe he goes, maybe it's a little extra for him. It's a little extra. So I'm thinking about players, like who are other passionate players in football? Like who can you think of? Like who would you consider like a really emotional, excitable player of color in the NFL? You know, like who comes to mind?
Right now. I don't know why I'm drawing up.
Yeah, I mean, because
there are others, but for a lot of reasons, whether it's New York, whether it's his style, for a lot of reasons, I think it's fair to say he is among the most scrutinized. And I'm not trying to cape up for Odell. I'm not trying to say he's a victim or nothing like that.
How about Cam?
Cam. And you know what? You want to talk about narratives? How much differently do people talk about Cam now that he's in New England? We talked about this earlier. Oh, Cam's so different. Cam the same dude he was in Carolina. He the same dude he was in Carolina. They just talk about him differently because of his surroundings. Wow. His surroundings. He hasn't won anything more. His surroundings. Because New England has legitimized him somehow. But he's not doing anything differently than he did in New England.
I agree with you.
Speaking of New England.
I agree. It's the surroundings. It's all surroundings. It's the
speaking
culture.
of New England.
He's with the Cleveland. He was with, and I'll let it go, but I just want to point out, he's with,
go ahead.
He hasn't had, if he's been in the league, Odell, for 6-7 years, whatever it is, he's been on one playoff team, and that changes everything. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes.
I just think it shouldn't. But we talked about New England. It's been a long time. We do family reunions on this show. We do family reunions. It has been a long time since me, you, and Shalise Manza-Young were in the press conference trying to get something out of Bill Belichick. Now she's a big-time Yahoo Sports columnist. Shalise, it is so good to see you. I want to get to your family and just how you're doing in a minute, but let's start with the conversation we were just having. I think you might have overheard it. Feel free to weigh in on Odell Beckham and what he had to say and juxtapose himself with Tom Brady.
You know, this isn't something that Odell has said in the past, and I don't think he's wrong. You know, it's true that, as you guys said, black players in particular, and especially receivers, they're always painted as divas, and black players, when they're passionate, then it comes across or it's portrayed as, you know, they're being petulant. I think that's the word you use, Mike, and that they're being brats. And, you know, Odell's a weird guy, talented as all get out, obviously. But he's a weird guy. He hasn't really won anything yet, not entirely his fault. And people are going to portray him the way that they portray him because he's outspoken and he's not going to back down. And he's not Tom Brady. You know, we've seen people make excuses for Tom Brady and dismiss the, you know, demonstrative way that he interacts with his teammates at times. And why is it okay for him to be that way, but not for other players? And I think it's a perfectly fair question to ask.
What do you think of Beckham's future, though? Because I see this changing. I think he doesn't have to change who he is. I see it changing by going to a winning situation. I see what you guys are saying, but winning players, winning black players who are excitable are described as just that, excitable players who are winners. I think part of his problem is that he's been with two organizations that are really struggling to get into the postseason.
Well, let's, you know, Mike started talking about our commonality with the three of us. Let's take it back to Corey Dillon. What did everybody say about Corey Dillon when he was with the Bengals? that he was a jerk, that he was a brat, that he was a punk, he was outspoken. We all remember those last year or so that he was with the Bengals and throwing, I think he threw his shoulder pads. Randy Moss, same thing.
Same thing.
And like you said, they go to the organization, they start to experience winning, and all of that calms down. And for some guys, the desire to win and the need to win just manifests itself in ways that not everybody agrees with.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.